Darren Dame. Derek is diving head first in today, testing the water in the Treaty County.
That's right. O'Hartigan began his flying visit at the Foynes Flying Boat and Maritime Museum this morning.
Yes, Derek, how are you getting on? Are you in the air?
Yes, the flying visit. Well, we're not in the air, we're on the ground. But anyway, it's great to be down here in Foynes Flying Boat and Maritime Museum. Fintan, I've wanted to come down here for a long time, and it's great to be finally here.
It's great to see you, and you're all welcome here to this unique museum. It's the only one of its kind in the world, and you won't see one like it again unless you come back through here.
Absolutely. Now, Fintan, tell us about the museum itself. We've got lovely opening shots of the exterior of it. When was it set up?
Well, it was opened proper in 1989, and one Maureen O'Hara cut the ribbon at that opening. More about her later on, but 1989 was when it opened first, but it was a whole different building then. It was much smaller. It was mainly the control tower, which we'll be seeing later, and last year there was a huge extension that opened up, and there was great excitement about that and lots of footfall since that, because it hit publicly hugely after that, and we're very proud of that.
This museum itself, in fact, it's steeped in history and heritage, and I suppose you have to go back to 1939, in the middle of the World War, where it really was a centre point, really, in terms of flights, transatlantic flights.
Oh yes, now you can imagine how rural this town of Foynes would have been back then, and it was picked, believe it or not, to be the centre of the aviation universe. All flights came through here to refuel and go further on, whether they're going to Europe, up to North Africa sometimes, or back to Newfoundland and on down to New York. They used Foynes, this little rural town, which is fantastic when you consider we were just a new state at that stage.
And it's great the fact that the first transatlantic passenger plane landed in here.
That's right. In 1939, the first plane came in, and it was the Yankee Clipper, famous Yankee Clipper, and it landed here with 19 passengers. Now, those planes could carry up to 35 people, but 19 arrived that day, and it was mushroomed from that. During the war years, the war is writ large on this town and on this museum. During the war years, approximately 50,000 people came through Foynes, the airport, and they were mainly Allied soldiers to do with the war effort. And indeed, poignantly, there were at least about 1,000 refugees, some of them child refugees, from war-torn Europe that came through this humble little...
Well, I know we're going to see the Yankee Clipper a little bit later on, so you go around the back and we'll see you in a few, because we're going to catch up with Natalie here. And Natalie, many famous faces, in fact, have passed through the doors here over the years.
Yes, very many famous people have passed through here. You had the likes of John F. Kennedy, Eleanor Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, Humphrey Bogart, Bob Hope, Gracie Fields. So many, anyone who was anyone back then.
And there is a beautiful association as well with the late, great Maureen O'Hara. And we're in the room here now, and we've lovely shots on air. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Maureen O'Hara was married to a very famous aviator named Charlie Blair. He was the last pilot to fly out of here in 1945. She opened the museum in 1989 and was the patron for her entire life until she died in 2015. And then we acquired her entire collection, which we have here on display.
And of course, there's that great connection with the Quiet Man.
Absolutely. We have the original trap from the Quiet Man here on display as well, and a lot of wonderful costuming from there as well.
And the lovely thing about it is that Maureen O'Hara opened this museum when she was with us.
Yes, she did open the museum in 1989. She did the ribbon cutting, and she came here every year for her birthday until her death in 2015.
All right, so we're walking and talking here, and we're moving into the next room. And this room had huge significance back in the day, I suppose, because this is the Foynes radio room. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the radio room would have had all the original radio equipment from the time. These are the transmitters. Now we have the Marconi transmitter. It is the only Marconi transmitter left today.
And this is it here.
The Marconi transmitter is actually
here,
this big guy right here, and they would, when they were away from land, they would communicate by Morse code, but close by they would do short and long wave.
And this is the only one in the world right here in Foynes.
This Marconi is the only one in the world, yes.
It's incredible.
Yes, yes it is.
I mean, so much history in one museum.
Oh, so much history, Derek, definitely.
And of course, Foynes is the birthplace of Irish coffee as well.
Absolutely, it is, and you have to try one on your way out.
Yeah, we will, absolutely. Now, we're going to finish out here because we're going to come back to Fintan. And Fintan, I suppose, this is your pièce de résistance, if you want to call it that. Tell us about the Yankee Clipper here.
Well, there were 12 of those Boeing 314s manufactured. None of them exist. They're all gone. but we have got the best we have got the only example here. It's a full-scale model of that plane, and it is the main exhibit in this museum. It's what makes it unique, in fact, and it is the wow factor. I enjoyed the look on everybody's face who comes through here. They all go, wow.
I mean, we've shots of it now, hopefully on air, and I mean, inside it, there's lots of space inside, right?
Well, really, yes. You're flying on like a cruise ship. Now, of course, in order to fly on those boats, you had to be rich. Both, and sometimes very famous people came through here. But they were all, you could be sure of one thing, they were all very rich.
I mean, in terms of the weight of this, to get this off the ground, an incredible feat of engineering.
Well, it weighed 40 tonne, and in order to lift that baby off the water, there were 4 huge, now, small by today's standards, but back in those days, 1,600 horsepower engine was massive, and you can imagine the roar from those engines. Oof. People came from miles around, and you can imagine back then there was no noise pollution, so the noise of those engines would have been heard from miles away.
Wow, it's incredible.
Well, you can imagine rural Ireland out in Foynes and that machine coming in. It was
awake
spectacular.
And kicking. Before we let you go, where can we find out more online? Is there a website?
There is a website which Natty will give you later on.
All right, okay, we'll have more on that. Thank you so much for your tour here this morning.
Okay,
we really enjoyed
you.
so many people coming down here to Foynes. Well worth a visit if you're in the heart of the Midwest. But for me, Fintan, and of course Natty, back to you guys in studio.
Thank you so much.
Incredible looking, the size of it.
You're talking about Cessnas and everything going on here. You've gone aviation mad. So they have, both of the lads. And now coming up, something completely different. Sex guru Jenny Keane will be giving tips and tricks to help keep the spark alive if it's something that you think your children might find a little bit sensitive, or you might find a little bit sensitive. Here is your warning.
Stylist Rob Condon has got big cat energy on the catwalk. Wonder what that means. And our science guy, Phil Smith, is giving us a play-by-play of the digestive system in very graphic detail, apparently. See you back here after a few.